Yo, what is up, man? Welcome into the show. Welcome into the program. This is Sentell. It's just the best damn sports podcast, period. It's just the undisputed champion of sports podcast. I'm your host, the sensational Sentell Whiteman, a.k.a. Mr. No Days Off, a.k.a. the One Man Dynasty. Welcome back. Monday in the football season, we call it Overreaction Monday. But since we had a game yesterday, we can't really call it Overreaction Monday. I like to kind of name my days and my shows. Like Thursday is Talking Trash Thursday. Friday's Football Friday. And then like Monday's Overreaction Monday. I already mentioned this. So what I'm going to start calling these Tuesdays, during the season Truth Tuesdays. Because there's a lot of truth that needs to be told about what happened this past weekend in the opening weekend of the college football season. Not a lot of tremendous big time matchup games, but we had a lot of tremendous storylines, players showing up, programs, coaches. So a lot of things to talk about in the world of college football. What an exciting time of year. Obviously, the first weekend of the season. Again, this is not an Overreaction Monday. This is a True Tuesday. And I am your boy, Sentell Whiteman. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. I think we want to. Now, look, y'all see this guy behind me. I know you people. I know it's football season. And I know you people only want to talk about college football. And we're going to damn sure get to that. But damn it, I want to acknowledge this young man behind me before we even go any further for college football. We're going to get there. But I need to talk about this guy behind me. And if you don't know who this young man is, this is Ronald Acuna Jr., Braves right fielder. He's having an outstanding season. I don't even know how to quantify what he's having. This season is historically great. No one has ever, when you do things in baseball that has never, when they say the history of the game has never been done. We're talking about baseball, who's been around forever. And this guy's done things that has never been done in the game of baseball. He's batting .335. He has 32 home runs. 85 RBIs. But that ain't what the number that's just going to just jump out at you. The man has 63 stolen bases. So he has 32 is 60. Let that sink in for just a second. 32 is 60. These are unprecedented things. He had a chance to go 40-70. Forget 40-40. We thought 30-30 was great. 40-40 was, you was going to the Hall of Fame, 40-40, Barry Bonds. This man has a chance to go 40-70. So respect this young man behind me. You respect this guy, okay? This guy is one of the best in the game right now. I told you 5 years ago that this guy will soon be the best player in the game, and he is that right now, and he is the front runner for the MVP. So go ahead and salute this young fella behind me, because I'm going to talk about this guy. This guy's fantastic. We're going to get into all that other stuff. We're going to get into all that other great stuff in a minute. So let's move on. Of course, we're going to go to football, and let's run down what the top 10 teams in the country did, and I'll kind of analyze a little bit of some of the games. Didn't watch them all. I did watch most of them. So we'll go through that as soon as let's see what I want to do here. Oh, could go there. Could do that. Let's see. So, okay, we'll go there. We'll do that. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. No, we're not ready for that yet. We're not ready for that one yet. We're not ready for that. Let's stop right here. That's where we're going to stop. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the top 10 teams in the country this past weekend. What did they do? Big old Titan, Acuna Jr., Flames emoji. Absolutely, man. I can talk about the kid all day. I'm not going to do it, but I could. Okay. Let's talk about top 10 in college football. Obviously, number one team in the country, Georgia, beat up on UT Martin 48-7. I heard mixed things about Carson Beck. Again, it's one of the games I really didn't tune into. I just know Georgia fans wasn't happy. Of course, this is when you get used to a certain level, and now here we go. Now can Carson Beck live up to that level? I'm still not sure about them on the outsides for skill position people. They brought a couple of transfers in. We'll see how that go. But Georgia did beat UT Martin. I'm not going to go ahead and go into a lot of detail about that. Michigan, number 2 team in the country, to beat ECU 30-3. Thought J.J. McCarthy did some nice things. Uh, Blake Corum looked like he was in mid-season form. He had a nice day, and it's ECU. So we're not going to get up there. But let's the next team, number 3 team in the country, Ohio State. I told you guys. They won the game now, 23-3. But I told you guys, I am not sure about the quarterback position. And that's the reports I was getting all season. They didn't know if McCord or Brown was ready to go to give them what we expect this Ohio State offense to be. And if you watched the internet game Saturday, that didn't look like a traditional Ohio State offense that we've come accustomed to seeing. And I think that's going to be the case. I think they'll get better as the season go along, a little bit better. But I don't believe in Kyle McCord. I don't believe in the Brown kid. They got a lot of tremendous receivers. And again, I told you the defense. And I know they held Indiana to 3-point, but Indiana is terrible. Indiana stinks. So that's where we are with that. Alabama won 56-7 over, I guess that's Middle Tennessee State. I could be wrong on that. They say Jalen Monroe did some good things. He ran around a good bit, threw a couple TD passes. I'm not sure about their receiving core. I don't believe they have the explosive type weapons on the outside. Running game would be interesting to see. They got a couple of young guys, Young and Haynes in the wings. They ran the veteran guys out there this week that we familiar with for the last several seasons. They started with them, but we won't know anything about Alabama for a while. I'm not impressed by that. Obviously, number 5 LSU lost to Florida State 45-24. We'll get more in depth with that game in a little bit. We'll get more in depth than that. Number 6 USC 66 over Nevada 66-14. It's all about Caleb Williams. We know what their offense is going to do. We know what Lincoln Riley represents when it comes to offensive football. Again, I worry about the defense. I'm not really worried about the offense. They're going to be able to score against anybody in the country. Can they stop anybody? That will be the question. Can they stop anybody? Moving along, number 7 Penn State had a sluggish win over West Virginia, 38-15. The game was a lot closer. Again, Drew Allard is getting a lot of hype. Played pretty well. He didn't play bad. He didn't play great by no means. They got a good running game with the Singleton kid. I thought it just kind of ho-hummed it for a first game of the season. Kind of got through it. So that's Penn State. Number 9 Clemson. We'll get more into depth about Clemson in just a few minutes. Also, they lose to Duke 28-7, and we'll get more in depth in that in a little bit. Also, it was number 10 Washington. Man, Michael Penix Jr. I know it was at Boise State. Boise State was a good team last year. Boise State won like 10 games last year. So I thought this game would be a lot more competitive, and I was wrong. Michael Penix Jr., 450 yards passing, 5 TDs. That receiving core is outstanding. Aduzier, Milligan, Polk. Oh my God, they almost had all 3 of them almost had 100 yards piece. 2 of them had 100 yards, and McMillan had multiple TDs. So that offense is explosive and very dynamic. So they look good. But let's move on to some of the stories of the weekend and get more in depth with some of the games over the weekend. We'll get more into depth. Obviously, one of the biggest stories of this past weekend was the Colorado Buffalo. Deion Primetime Sanders. It was a huge win for Colorado Buffaloes. So, obviously, you see the question on my screen right there. You see the question on my screen right there. Did Deion Sanders make you a believer? I mean, a believer. I believe in Prime. I believe in Deion Sanders. Again, I don't think they're going to win that championship, but I think they're going to make a bowl game, like I said the week before. But I want to talk about a larger issue when I talk about Deion in the prime time. I want to talk about a larger issue that's on my mind. And people are kind of on both sides of this Deion thing with the media and the things he said. But I just think people just see Dion. They think he's probably just a master motivator, which he is. He's a showman, which he is. He's a CEO, which he is. He's flashy, which he is. He's charismatic, which he is. But I think people fail to realize, and I think what happened, what he showed you Saturday, this son of a bitch knows how to coach football. And I'm talking about X's and O's. I'm not talking about the rah-rah stuff. I'm talking about this son of a bitch is a savant. He's a coach. He knows the game. People just think it's flash and dash. Because the question that I had about them was offensive line and D line. How would the O-line hold up? And if you watch that game, they did a damn good job. They were opening holes. They were protecting Shador. And I just think people get caught up in the Deion Sanders rah thing, and all he does is inspire people, which he's a great speaker. He does that. But I think the son of a bitch can flat out coach X's and O's, which why he talks the way he talks, because long history has taught us in the sport about being African American when it comes to our mental. Never question our physical abilities. It's always been our mental. That's why it took so long for black quarterbacks to get going in the NFL at quarterback. They didn't think we could process information and think. Coaching is a whole lot more slower right now. You don't see you don't see the offensive coordinators. You don't see them. You don't see African American a lot of coordinators. You see a lot of defensive black coordinators, black defensive coordinators, because they think it's not we look at that position not as cerebral. That's why you don't see the offensive coordinators. But I'm looking at Deion and I'm thinking that's showing you that the mental part of it. It ain't just the rah-rah. It ain't just the showmanship. The guy can freaking coach. He had those guys they were prepared to play a game mentally at this level. And I don't get into all of this FCS and the HBCU and all this garbage, because they had some dogs out there. Travis Hunter was the number 1 overall high school recruit out of high school. So that's a dog. That guy can play anywhere. Shador shows you what he can do throwing the football. I had no doubts about Shador. I told you when I came here last week. I said, he's going to throw the football. He's going to do his thing. He's going to do his thing. That was the easiest game of the week to pick on if you do such things. If you engage in such things. And you know what we're talking about here. 21 points. They were getting 21 points. So that was the easiest bet of the week that they were going to cover 21 points. But I just want to speak to the fact that Deion Sanders has a hell of a staff. Those guys are former NFL players, guys who've been coaching in college for years, guys who have coached at the NFL level. There's offensive coordinator Sean Kelly is one of the most brightest young guys out there calling plays. He was the head coach at Kent State. He got him to come there. So you got a head coach with the mindset like that, and you bring him there. So they are cerebral with this thing. So they ain't just no flash and dash. They coaching this. They're teaching this. Now, like I said, they're not going 11-1. They're not going undefeated. But Prime can flat out coach. So whatever doubts you may have had early on about Prime, he's showing you right now that it ain't just flash and dash. It ain't a blip. He's gonna be here, like he said. He's gonna be here. Get comfortable. He's gonna be here, and I like seeing that. So hopefully more of us can be in offensive coordinator positions, head coaching position, because that's where the change got to be made. We see what the changes are on the field. We see the quarterback position is going that way. We see that. We debunked this whole idea that we can't play quarterback, and I mean African Americans, black quarterbacks can't play. So we debunked that. You see the question? You can comment. Did Deion Sanders make you a believer? Do you now believe? I don't think his reporter still believes, but do you guys out there believe in Deion Sanders? I think they are headed in the right direction. I believe in Deion because It ain't, like I said, it ain't just the things he's saying. That's substance. He got great coaches. He got great coaches, and he knows what he knows the game. So get used to it. Colorado Buffaloes upset the 17th ranked TCU 45-42. What a game! Shador had 500 yards, 4 TDs, no picks. It's like 31 or 37, 30. I'm sorry, 30 or 47. I'm sorry. Great game. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like TCU, what the TCU we saw last year, especially offensively, and they still did some things offensively. But that's still it's a really good win on the road for a program that won one game last year. So we're not going. I know some people, overselling it, oversold it, and all that good stuff, and I get it. I get it. But we're gonna slow down a little bit. But do I believe in Deion Sanders? Absolutely, I believe in Deion Sanders and what he's doing at Colorado. So good win for them. Let's move on. Next game we're gonna kind of get and dive in depth with. We're gonna talk about a program. We're gonna talk about Clemson. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Clemson. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Clemson. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Clemson. Yeah, you see it. You see the question. You see the question up there. You see the question up there. I think I just saw a stat. They're 21-7 since 2021. So the question is the dynasty over? For now, yeah, the dynasty is over. I'm not gonna say they're not elite programs yet. Now we'll see how the season unfolds. But if the dynasty over, is are they going to the championship game this year? No, they're not winning that championship game. They're gonna be playoff this year? No. Are they gonna be in the playoff next year? No. So the dynasty is over. Because I think they haven't won 2019 season. So we're 3 years removed from the last championship. So yeah, I think that part of it's over. And it's slowly eroding. And I mentioned all the problems last week about this team. Cade, I like the Cade. He's a good kid. He's probably a good kid. But everyone that I talked to, most people, I'm not going to say all Clemson fans, tried to convince me, and I didn't buy it, that DJ was the main reason that they struggled. Now, keep in mind, by hook or by crook, they won 11 games. They won the ACC. Now, it didn't look great at times. It wasn't. We all see the problems. But we thought, okay, let's go correct those problems. Well, you can bring in a new OC, but I still see some of the same problems. And there are no guys on the outside that strike fear into you, which changes the whole dynamic of a game when you don't have these guys out here. They don't have the guys out here that scare you one-on-one. They don't have them. And I've been saying this now for 2-3 years. You've seen this receiving core, the production going down. You see it's going down. Dabo also is making huge mistakes because he's not adapting and adjusting his philosophies with the NIL and the transfer portal. He's stubborn. He was stubborn at the very outset. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go get all these players. The game has flipped. It has changed. This is why Nick Saban has been great for so long. He adapts. He changes. You have to change with the time. I've always said you have to adapt to what's going on today. The way I think 20 years ago is not the same way I think today. The world ain't the same as it is 20 years ago. So you have to adjust, adapt. Question from Mr. KDD. Think Kenyon Coleman could have helped that Clemson team? Yes, because he was an elite playmaker. Elite playmakers help everybody else's jobs. That's what Clemson is missing. They got good running backs. The O-line wasn't terrible last night. Cade is just okay, but they don't have nobody out here that scares you. They can't get deep. They can't get behind you. You don't fear that. So now you're just keeping everything in front of you. I saw a lot of times when they throw the receiver, somebody right beside the receiver. because they can't get away. They can't get separation. This is not a coordinator issue. Now, he's supposed to be really good. So could he have schemed some things up better? Could he have schemed some things up to get some guys free? Possibly. I mean, that's what he's there for. I mean, that's supposed to change everything, right? I'm telling you, it's more personnel than scheme. I would say to me, I don't fear Williams. I like him. Nolan Turner, Bo Collins, nice players. Nice players. They are nice players. But they're not elite players. No one is scared of those people. So that's what we're going to defensively. They didn't get beat down. I mentioned the game was 28-7, but Duke didn't have a lot of yards. They held Riley Leonard at 50% passing. But they made critical mistakes last night. 3 turnovers. I want to say 2 in the red zone. Critical mistakes last night that's cost them. But overall, I just think they don't have the elite playmakers on the outside right now. They just don't. Jeff Scott is back in Mr. KDD. The problem is bigger than wide receivers. They have talent, but the wide receiver core been suffering since Jeff Scott left. I agree. But he was recruiting. Look at who he was recruiting. He was also probably developing too. But I get caught up in that when you got really good players, man. How much developing are you honing your craft? But when you got less than elite receivers, that's when you find can you develop receivers. Now some guys either got that or you don't. Like elite level talent. These guys ain't got elite level talent. Them guys are good. You talk them guys elite. No, you're right. They got more problems than receivers. That's something going on in Clemson right now. It's just brewing. That's some things that are going on underneath the surface that we can't see. Dabo has always been more of a CEO type. He's always had good coordinators. And then you get, again, I keep harping on this now. I don't beat him up too bad because he had Todd Boyd. They built the program. They built it from ground up. They had to get those players in there, which they did. So they brought 2 generational quarterbacks in there. So I can't. That's what was dealt. That's what he had. He had 2 generational quarterbacks back to back. And of course, you should win with that. So I don't want to just kill Dabo and say he never won. I think he's still a pretty good coach, but he's more of a CEO type. He's never been an X's and O's guy. Development. He coached wide receivers also at Alabama, I won't say. But that receiving group is not it. Who you selling me on that group? Antonio Williams is a really good player. That's it. Bo Collins, them guys is okay. Them guys ain't separating from nobody on that field. You turn that tape on, they're not separating. They don't scare anybody on that field. Like I said, the O-line played good, okay. I like Will Shipley. But I don't think Cade is ready yet, especially in the passing game, consistently. And he threw the ball way too much last night. 43 attempts for 20. He threw the ball 40. This is speaking to my point. He threw the ball 47 times last night. Completed 27 passes for 209 yards. 209 yards. 27 completions, that's 4.9 yards per completion if you're doing the math at home. So that means you're not throwing the ball down the field at all. All you're doing is throwing the ball horizontally. You're not throwing it vertically at all. You're not challenging the defense. Why? Because you don't have nobody who really can go down the field and challenge the defense. That's the reason why. So Clemson got a lot more problems. I need to see the defense. Like I said, they did a good job. They didn't do a great job. They didn't give a whole bunch of yardage last night, But at the end of the day, they got handled by Duke, And that's another one of my picks last week on the card. If you into that kind of thing, if you're into such things as that, if you're a degenerate, if you into such things as that was 13 points. I told you last week to take those 13 points. Because I'm telling you, Mike Elko, I like Mike Elko. He got something there. He got some juice. I'm not gonna say he's gonna turn Duke into a powerhouse. Maybe he can give him the Spurrier level, late 80s, early 90s, Spurrier level type level of play, and that'll be good enough for Duke. But I've seen these cracks showing in the Clemson program the last couple of seasons, and now it can spiral if they don't get this thing. If they don't get this thing under control, they got two cupcakes in a row. They need to get this thing figured out before FSU comes to town. Segue. So, if the Clemson dynasty over, chime in. If the Clemson dynasty over, I'll ask you people. If the Clemson dynasty over, I think so. I think that day is gone. They runs are meant to be broken. All right, let's move along. Big game Sunday night. Obviously, the top 10 matchup with Florida State and LSU. LSU was ranked 5. Florida State was 8 coming into the game. Big time game. Let me get to this. And we're going to ask a question here too. You see it? FSU with a dominating second half. They dominated the second half. Jordan Travis was spectacular in the second half. There's nothing I can say bad about his performance in the second. He was on point, on time. He was sensational, to steal a phrase. 342 yards passing, 23 completions, and got to 342 yards. So big plays, big chunk plays. See the converse difference of what I saw from the Clemson game. These guys were going down the field because they have a player, an elite receiver, that can get down the field, that strikes fear in you, and you may not want to single him up because he did damage. That's Keon Coleman, the Michigan State transfer. He was fabulous last night. He had 3 TDs. Florida State defensively, they struggled early. Second half, they held LSU to 7 points. So they shut them out the second half, basically shut them out the second half. Wasn't much of a game in the second half. FSU now is number 4 in the country. And I asked you, did that win prove that they're the best team in college football today? Did they prove that they were the best team in college football today? I will agree. I will say this. Clearly, that's the best win of the weekend. No matter what you think about LSU going forward. At the time of this football game, they were ranked number 5 in the country. I had these guys in the SEC championship game. So that is the best win of the season. I'm going to hold off on the best team in college football for now. Now they got a game against Clemson. Obviously, we don't think Clemson is good as we did at the beginning of the season. And we thought they were better. They don't look as good. They got 2 weeks to turn that around. We'll see. But I told you, if they beat Clemson in week 4, this could be a very, very magical season for Florida State. They could do some things. Because if that defense can hold up, it's going to be tough to deal with those receivers. And then they can turn around and run the ball with Trey Benson. Jaheim Bell got in on the act. The tight end last night, he got in on the act. They got a lot of guys offensively that can do some things. Jordan Travis does a great job of getting the ball to his playmakers. He makes some mistakes early. Jitters, first game, early. Could that be the issue? I don't know. But whatever that was, he got it rectified. Because he played lights out in the second half. They were good. Defensively, they were good second half. Jordan Travis was great the second half. So that's what I saw last night. Did it prove they're the best team in college football? I won't go that far. That's probably too opening of a question on our first week. But you know how we do in the media. We want instant gratification. So we got to put up questions like this after the first game of the season. That's what we do here in the media. That's what we do. We put up questions like, oh, they're the best team in college football after one game, after being a top 5 team. That's what we do. But they had the best win, obviously, of the weekend. And no one can deny that. We're not going to sit here and argue that they didn't have the best win of the weekend when you beat the top 5 team. It doesn't matter right now. Now, what happens at LSU after that, we can revisit that. But as of today, they had the best win of the college football season. Great win. Dominant second half. They looked the part, special offense level team that could do some damage. That could perhaps get to the playoffs. Because I'm just not sure right now if Clemson, it was another game that I thought that could be scary. I still think it could be scary. And that's Pitt. And not because Pitt overly talented. They keep some good defense. it could be a potential one of those. Hey man, it's Pittsburgh. We're going there. Crowd's not really into the game. Maybe an early kick. You're dragging. You've been pumping up all week, but the fans pumping you up. You're pumped up. We're undefeated. We're rolling. They can't beat us. And you go in there and you lay an egg. So you got to watch for those snake pits. That's when you know you reach the top level. When you handle your business against the teams that you're supposed to handle your business against. So that's what we're waiting on. That's what we want to see from FSU. But a good win nevertheless. And that's pretty much it for the weekend in college football. We look ahead because I won't be here anymore the rest of the week. Big game down in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Texas travels to place Alabama. Big game last year. Should be an absolute crazy environment down there in Bama when the Longhorns roll into town. I'm high on the Longhorns. This will tell me a lot. This will tell me a lot about the Longhorns this week. This will tell me a whole lot about the Longhorns. But to recap, before I get out of here, I want to thank all of you for tuning in to Sentell. You know what it is, the best damn sports podcast, period. I'm your host, the sensational Sentell Wideman, a.k.a. Mr. No Days Off, a.k.a. the One Man Dynasty. But we recap the top 10 teams in the country, went over all the top 10 teams' performances. We went in depth about Colorado's win, in depth about the problems at Clemson, and then we ended, I think, apropos, we ended talking about the Seminoles' dominant performance on Sunday night that would give them a lot of momentum heading into the rest of their season. Big time performance from them on Sunday night. Again, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in and watching the program. The next time that I will see you guys will be September 18th, actually. So I will be gone for 13 days. 13 whole days. You will not get us Sentell. I apologize for that. But due to scheduling issues and other things going on, I will be on hiatus for about 13 days. And I will be back that Monday. That will be an overreaction Monday. And NFL season will be back. So I meant to mention the NFL Thursday night. You know, got opening night, Kansas City Chiefs versus Detroit Lions. Still no Chris Jones for the Chiefs. Pat Mahomes is undefeated in season openers. And he's like 18 TDs or something crazy like that in that season opener. So I still got the Chiefs slightly over the Lions on Thursday night. But you enjoy that. NFL season will be rolling full slate Sunday night. Go Niners against the Steelers. Should be a good matchup there. But I want again thank all of you guys for tuning in and watching the program tonight. I will see you next time, September the 18th. That's the next time you catch Sentell. Right here on YouTube. This is the best damn sports podcast, period. The undisputed champion of sports podcast. I will see you September the 18th. Enjoy college football. Enjoy the NFL. Until the next time, I am out.